Alright, let's discuss the angle of your brush contact. Against a heavy spin ball, should you brush more forward or more upward? Many players tend to lift the ball up too much against heavy spin. Lifting the ball like that is ineffective, it has no quality or power. From my experience, the heavier the spin, the more you must commit to brushing forward. I feel we are often too hesitant. When the opponent serves, as you contact the ball, your hand is still in a state of fear. You instinctively lift the ball, which is a natural reaction. This is a common issue among amateur players. The 40+ ball was an earlier change. But the ABS plastic material is a more recent change. With ABS material, the amount of spin has been significantly reduced. It's a huge reduction, you can't even compare it to the small ball era. It's not even comparable to the original 40+ celluloid balls. So my point is, the spin on the ball is not nearly as heavy as you imagine. The ball has spin, but you aren't properly synchronizing your force to counter it. You fail to engage the ball with enough force, which causes you to not brush it solidly, and the ball goes into the net. Serve it long with side spin backspin. See, that's a lot of spin. But if I just use my fingers and wrist like this, the ball still goes over. My feeling is the arm isn't going forward. After contact, the brushing action is too vertical. However, amateur players mostly deal with side spin backspin serves. So let's try a few more. If you drive forward and still hit the net, the problem is with your hand, fingers, and wrist. Now, if you're using your fingers and wrist but the contact is weak, you will definitely hit the net. So my first suggestion is, no matter how much spin, your entire arm needs to drive forward through the brush. Drive forward as you brush. It's actually very easy. You must go forward. Next time you play, don't use your whole arm's power. Just flick with your fingers and wrist and see if it goes over. Analyze if it's your overall swing path causing you to misread the spin, not the spin itself. You didn't make solid contact, you didn't drive through the ball. Next time, do it like me. When the serve comes, drive your forearm forward and use your wrist in a forward-upward motion. You have to understand, it's like playing against long pips. You hit the net not because you misread the spin. Watch a long pips block. If you let it bounce on your side, you'll see it has almost no spin. The ball has no spin, it's just dead. So why do you hit the net? Because this ball lacks forward momentum, and by the time you complete your backswing, your contact point is too low to lift the ball over the net. Your timing is too late. You're not really misreading the spin. Sometimes you are, but a large part of the time, that's not the reason. It really isn't, players. As you improve, you'll start to feel this. From a physics perspective, how can your large looping motion not overcome the spin from their small serving motion? Because your power is not concentrated. Okay, let's demonstrate with a penhold loop. This is very spinny. Now, I want to talk about angles, specifically for our backspin loop. Let me demonstrate, please serve. Watching these loops, where do you think my contact point is? Above the table, level with the table, or below the table? Some of you might say above the table. Now let me demonstrate another way, and you can feel the difference. This is the second type. You can see this contact point is clearly above the table. Let's explain why so many amateur players make contact above the table when they loop. Why do you hit the net? It's because your starting position is already above the table. If the ball comes fast and high, you might be able to engage it. But if the ball is slightly softer or slower, watch carefully. This is the result. In slow motion, you can see the backswing and the contact motion. Notice the contact point is on the lower half of the racket. If your backswing doesn't start from below the table, you can handle fast balls by driving through them. But for a third ball attack, this is why you can loop in drills but miss when you try to attack a serve. You end up swinging too early, making contact when your motion is already halfway or two-thirds complete. With such a short stroke, how can you possibly loop a backspin ball? Many players miss the ball entirely. Why do you miss? Your stroke is finished before the ball even gets there. Why do you feel so powerless? Why can't you engage the ball's power? This is also the reason. When the opponent's ball comes, you should be lower. Let me show you in slow motion. I should be positioned here. As the ball drops, I start to engage it. I can engage it faster, and even faster, and that's how you generate quality. But what do? We start from here. This is the wrong motion many amateur players make when looping a backspin ball. There's almost no brushing action. In the end, you're just pushing it forward by lifting up. You generate no quality. In professional matches, you'll see that all the athletes get low. They press their center of gravity onto their right leg, get low, and store energy. And there's another important detail, the position of your right shoulder. You must learn to relax your right shoulder and keep it lower than your left shoulder. The sequence is, you drop it down, then bring it up to level. Your shoulder action should be sink first, then level out. Understand, everyone? Drop the shoulder first, then level it. It's not level first, then raised. If you loop using your shoulder, you'll get tired very quickly. You'll end up with an injury. So for looping backspin, you really have to drop your shoulder. Let me show you once you drop it. Now it's level. Once you drop your shoulder, your whole body is in a much better state to execute the shot. Found the reason why your loop is bad, right? Many of our movements go from a level position to a raised one. Honestly, many problems stem from the shoulder. Everyone must fix this shoulder issue, or you'll have a lot of trouble later. You won't be able to loop spinnier balls, and you'll hit balls with less spin out of bounds. It's really like that. So, how do you drop your shoulder? I often tell my students that for your forehand loop, you need to feel like your shoulder and your hip are connected, very close, not far apart like this. The distance between the shoulder and the hip is very close. Your leg isn't straight. You need to bend into a lunge. Your shoulder isn't high, you need to drop it down. These two parts have to find each other. During your backswing, the more compact your shoulder and hip are, the more power you can generate in your loop. The tighter your right shoulder and hip are, the more concentrated your power will be. Got it, players? You start from a compact state, and after the loop, you expand into an open state. That's the most efficient way. I think many of us do this in reverse. Starting with a level shoulder then raising it is a useless motion. You can't loop effectively. You'll end up not playing well and being covered in injuries. This applies to backspin loops, not necessarily topspin rallies. So, use your hip and shoulder as a reference. The closer they are, the better. The closer they are, the more concentrated the force in your hand will be. Look at me, see how effortless that is. Once we've found the hip position, how do we get the shoulder to drop? Look, I'm standing parallel. How do I drop that shoulder? This is the natural tendency. Even when I loop with my left hand, my shoulder is naturally high on the backswing. You must use your center of gravity to sink. This way won't work either. If you swing like this a few times, you'll feel it's wrong. So, when you shift your weight to this side, your shoulder naturally drops, doesn't it? Drop the shoulder, then drive. Same for backhand, drop the shoulder, then drive. Compare raising your shoulder to dropping it. The state of your arm is completely different. When your shoulder is high, even if you tell yourself to relax, it's already tense, specifically the shoulder and upper arm, which is the main problem that kills your explosive power. Another point, if your shoulder is tight, you can't create an outside-in swing path. It locks your shoulder, forcing a simple front-to-back motion. So, try dropping your shoulder. You don't even need a racket. Just raise it like this and feel the tension. You can't relax it. But when you drop it, you can swing freely. This is where the flexibility comes from. Many beginners start by raising their shoulder like this, but it should be dropped like this. Therefore, for your right shoulder power, you must let your center of gravity come over, and your right shoulder will drop with it. When your body weight goes up, the shoulder drops. If your body doesn't go down, your shoulder will be high. Lower your center of gravity, and your right shoulder will drop. When the shoulder is down, your arm can relax. Then you take that shoulder position, this is my backswing, and drive it forward through the shot, bringing it back to a level position. That's how your shoulder can generate power. So remember, drop your shoulder. When your center of gravity is low, your contact point will be correct. During our backswing, we are below the table, but at the moment of contact, I must be at table height or slightly above. I can't be making contact below the table. That would be a high, spinny loop. A high loop is struck low. To ensure a power loop, you cannot let your contact point drop below the table. Join as a member for early access to new videos and to unlock exclusive members-only shorts. Thank you for supporting the channel's growth.